So anyway, I thought that was pretty cool of Diamon Brown to sort of react like that and just own it. Like, nothing I can say just yet.
What else you can do? Yeah.
Right. We think good things ultimately are coming for Diamon Brown, but there's no mistaking it. Amon-Ra St. Brown is a force of nature, and he's nothing short of spectacular.
He's magnificent. And he kicks off pass catcher, love-hate.
Look at you,
as the number one love guy, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Tell me, what do you like about him, Matthew?
What don't I like about him? Like his post-game press conference game is strong, right?
Great delivery, just
great delivery,
face.
Just great. Like, here's what I will tell you, is that this is an insane stat. Dating back to last season, he's had at least 8 receptions and at least 10 targets in 8 straight games.
Yeah.
Like, find somebody who looks at you the way Jared Goff looks at Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah.
I don't think does your wife look at you that way?
Absolutely not.
Not me either.
Yeah.
No.
Doesn't have Jared Goff's clean pocket, though.
Right. No, 1,000%. She looks at me like Amon-Ra St. Brown looks at Diamon Brown, my wife. Like, I've got to do these dishes myself. Could you pick up a kid? What are you doing? Could you help me out? Like, your daughter's at gymnastics. Can you pick her up? You know what? No, exactly. Find somebody who looks at you the way that Jared Goff looks at Amon-Ra St. Brown over that stretch of time, that 8 straight game stretch where he's gotten double-digit targets every single game. He's averaging 26.4 fantasy points per game. He's had 20 or more fantasy points in 7 of 8 games. This is Cooper Kupp territory. That's what we're talking about here with Amon-Ra St. Brown. And then you think about the Eagles, right? Last week against the Vikings, they caught all 8 of their slot targets for 108 yards. You can attack the slot against Minnesota, which is who the Lions play this week. Give me Amon-Ra St. Brown as a locked-in wide receiver 1 this week.
The book on him was that his performance at the end of last year was skewed because Hawkinson was out or Swift was out. No, it doesn't matter. He's
and
just
by the
awesome.
way, and I'm one of the people that promoted that as well. I was in on that.
That's all you can do to look at it.
I basically said in the preseason, like, listen, I think the guy's really talented, but I think that production was skewed a little bit by the fact that, like, they were down big and that he was the only game in town.
Yep.
And the fact of the matter is like, probably, but whatever. He has earned those targets. He has earned the trust of Jared Goff. He has earned the trust of the coaching staff. Like, all hail Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's his world.
That offense is just legitimately good as well. And they're +6 against the Vikings. I think they cover that. The Lions are destined to lose on a walk-off field goal and lose that game by 3. An offense that isn't very good at the moment, the Denver Broncos, not looking great for Broncos country. Cortland Sutton, though, has looked fine. In his first 2 games, he's outperforming Jerry Jeudy, at least snap by snap. Didn't have the 67-yard touchdown that Jeudy got in week 1. But why is he on your love list?
Well, a couple of things. First off, so far he's got a team-high 20. He's got a 26% target share. Now, some of that is because, look, KJ Hamler missed last week. Jerry Jeudy left that game early. He's been a bit banged up as well. We'll see if either or both of those guys are able to go this weekend, Sunday night, against the San Francisco 49ers right here on NBC and Peacock. Of course, I'm a company man. But since the start of last season, he's had 7 different games in which he's had 7 or more targets. We expect him to get a decent target share again, especially given the banged-up nature of the other guys. He's averaging 16.4 fantasy points in games in which he gets at least 7 targets. Half his targets so far this year have come on deep balls. You look at Sutton, who is 6'3", and you look at the corners for the Niners. You're looking at a 5'11" guy. You're looking at a 6'1" guy. Like, I mean,
the height angle.
The height has.
I like it.
He does. The 49ers have allowed a 55% completion rate on deep passes. That's 6th highest in the NFL. Over half of the targets for Sutton this year have come on deep passes. Like, Russell Wilson's going to throw a couple of jump balls here to Cortland Sutton, and he's going to come down with one of them. I have Cortland Sutton as a top 16 play in week 3.
Yep. Niners secondary wasn't good last year. They get Charvarius Ward, Emmanuel Mosley is healthy, so they should be better, but at the same time,
but they're shorter.
They're shorter.
I mean, again, you're like, I'm pretty sure. No, I'm pretty
Height
sure. Off the top of my head, I think Mosley's like 5'11", I think Ward's 6'1", and so I mean, again,
sounds right.
Like Sutton's like 6'3", 6'4". Like, he's a big dude,
he's a big man.
Anyway, I think he posts up on those guys. I'm calling. Give me anytime touchdown for Cortland Sutton. I'm just calling it right now.
Declared.
I'm just declaring it right now. I don't know what the odds are on BetMGM. We'll see, but I'm just declaring it right now. Give me a Cortland Sutton. I'm sure it's at plus money. Give me Cortland Sutton anytime touchdown at plus money on BetMGM this weekend.
My declaration is tied to the next guy, Drake London, where right now the Seahawks are -1 against Atlanta. Atlanta wins that game. They're better than Seattle. At least I think so. And Drake London, who makes your love list. He is the plus 600.
Hang on a second. I want to take a moment here. We were rolling on that, right? I'm just going to ask Steven, our producer today. Here's what I want. Steven, what I want you to do is I want you to clip that off.
No.
I want you to clip that off of Jay Croucher.
Falcons.
Going back to the Falcons. The Falcons who broke his heart because he picked them in week 1 to win straight up on the New Orleans Saints. And what happened?
Yeah, well,
plus 200.
They lost the game.
They lost
the game.
And then, so just think about Jay Croucher. Jay Croucher's a smart guy. He's a former lawyer. Guy ran the trading desk at a massive online casino at PointsBet for 5 years. Like, you're a smart guy. In theory.
Allegedly.
Right? In theory, you're a smart guy. Like,
boyish, but smart.
I'm a dumbass sitting here in a Buffett shirt, but even I'm like, let me get this straight. The Falcons completely boned you in week 1.
Yep.
Then you've watched the last 2 weeks where they won't get Kyle Pitts involved. They won't get Cordero Patterson involved. They're literally trying to scheme open Cordero Hodge. That's literally a quote from their head coach. And you're back here on national television saying, oh, yeah, I'm back in on the Falcons to win outright. What?
They owe me. And if I don't have a win on the Falcons, I'm not going to feel all right all NFL season. They are a fine team. They almost came back on the Rams. They should have beaten the New Orleans Saints.
Who put tequila in Jay's drink?
Believe in the Falcons.
Is this supposed to be beer, guys?
I believe in you, Arthur Smith. Scheme up something for Kyle Pitts, for the love of God. Can we get him the ball? He's good.
I'll tell you, I don't know if they're going to scheme anything up for Kyle Pitts. I will tell you they will scheme stuff up for Drake London. He's got a team-high 33% target share so far. 5 receptions, at least 70 yards in both games so far this year. You think about the Seahawks game here. They're allowing over 15 yards per reception to wide receiver through 2 weeks. That's the 4th highest rate in the NFL. You can throw on Seattle. I mean, not if you're Russell Wilson, but pretty much everyone else can throw on Seattle. Again, a 33% target share. I actually think Marcus Mariota is a usable streamer this week if you're sort of desperate and scrambling a little bit as well. Give me Drake London as a borderline top 20 play this week.
With our friends at BetMGM, he is plus 600, the favorite for Offensive Rookie of the Year, Drake London. Rightfully so, in my opinion. He is 7th in the entire league for PFF grade among wide receivers. Some real Jamar Chase vibes there. Think he's going to produce all year. Now, a more surprising name, perhaps not as marquee as Drake London, is Tyler Higbee.
Sure.
I think has 20 targets through 2 weeks.
A 26% target share. Other than Cooper Kupp, my little Cooper Kupp, no other Ram is above 12%, but Tyler Higbee has a 26% target share. He got 3 red zone targets last week. And then you think about this game against the Arizona Cardinals. They've allowed the most catches, the most yards, and touchdowns to opposing tight ends through 2 weeks. Now, in fairness, they've faced Travis Kelce and Darren Waller. So, I mean, like, this isn't like, they're giving it up to
Cole Kmet.
Right, it's not Cole Kmet and Tyler Conklin. They face Kelce and Waller, so there's a reason for it, but numbers are numbers, and the fact of the matter is that both guys have been able to be productive against the Arizona Cardinals. Talented tight ends have been productive against Arizona so far this year with the most catches, yards, and touchdowns to opposing tight ends through 2 weeks. We think Tyler Higbee is a talented tight end. He's certainly getting the looks. Again, a 26% target share for the Rams. Matthew Stafford coming up later. He's on the love list. Again, foreshadowing, young men and women. Those of you who want to be in broadcasting, those of you who watch this show and go like, if Barry can do this, I absolutely can do this. And by the way, you're right. The fact of the matter is Matthew Stafford's going to have a big game here against Arizona. I think Tyler Higbee's a part of it as well. I'm as a top 10 play this week.
You know what I think about the Falcons?
What do you think about the Falcons?
I think they're going to make the playoffs. They're plus 1,200 on BetMGM. That division is not good. Bucks don't have any receivers. The Saints are not good, and the Panthers are a car crash. So the Atlanta Falcons, they start their run to the playoffs.
Very quickly, I just want to whip through some of the others receiving votes right here. I'm back in on Juju, right? I know last week was brutal, but he still ran a route on 80% of the pass plays here. The Colts, you can target the slot. We talked about this on yesterday's show as well. Opponents have caught 88% of the targets to the slot against Indianapolis through 2 games. I think Juju has a bounce back here. I'm as wide receiver 26 in my initial ranks. How about Curtis Samuel? Again, you think about Darius Slay and James Bradbury on the outside for the Philadelphia Eagles. Those guys have been shut down corners. So what happens against Philadelphia is you have to attack the middle of the field. So Curtis Samuel, who's got 20 targets through 2 weeks, my expectation here is that Samuel gets a number of targets for a variety of reasons against Philadelphia in a game in which my Commanders are going to be trailing a lot, especially after Carson Wentz throws like 2 pick sixes in the first 3 plays. So the Eagles allowed 6 or more slot receptions to a wide receiver both games so far. Amon-Ra St, Brown, and Justin Jefferson. I like Garrett Wilson as well. Again, this is a guy who had, after last week, 63% target share last week as well for Garrett Wilson. They should be having to throw against the Cincinnati Bengals. And hey, it would not be a fantasy football happy hour if I didn't throw in a mention to my guy Logan Thomas. Again, on the Philadelphia Eagles, that's where you attack.
Why are we talking about Logan Thomas again?
Start your tight ends against the Eagles. Right?
Okay. Logan Thomas.
The
fantasy football happy hour with Logan Thomas.
Gerald Everett, by the way, has over 50 yards in both games so far this season. I like him against the Jags.
I like Gerald Everett there. Now, you talked about a couple of commanders there, as you are prone to. On the hate side, I see the name Terry McLaurin, whose jersey is somewhere on that wall.
Yeah, McLaurin is right there.
I was wondering if you burnt it because he's stabbing him in the back on national television. You don't think he gets open against Darius Slay?
I don't. Look.
Okay.
So there have been 4 games in which Darius Slay has shadowed Terry McLaurin. Since Darius Slay's been in Philadelphia, there have been 4 games in which McLaurin has played the Eagles. Slay has shadowed Terry McLaurin. McLaurin's been held to under 65 yards in all 4 games. Now, he's got a better quarterback this time in Wentz than he has in any of those 4 games, but still, McLaurin's caught only 50% of his passes so far this season. Eagles, of course, allowing the 5th fewest yards per reception to opposing wide receivers. You just heard me talk about this. I love Terry McLaurin, one of my favorite players in the NFL, one of my favorite commanders. But for fantasy purposes, I think I prefer I think this is a Curtis Samuel, Logan Thomas game, not necessarily a McLaurin one. He comes in at wide receiver 23 for me. Again, the love-hate list is not it's not a start-sit. I'm not sitting saying I would start Curtis Samuel over Terry McLaurin, but in terms of expectations, I've lowered them for McLaurin this week, and I've raised them for Curtis Samuel and Logan Thomas.
At BetMGM, Darius Slay is 80-1 to win Defensive Player of the Year after he just destroyed Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, what was he before?
I was going to say he was 150-1. Now he's 80-1. And look, I don't think Darius Slay is going to win Defensive Player of the Year because Micah Parsons exists in this league, and he's the best freaking defensive player I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
But Darius Slay, I think.
And wait till Chase Young comes back.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Chase Young. Or, someone on the Falcons, maybe, so we can bring in AJ Terrell.
Terrell can actually play. All right, I'll give you that.
Darius Slay, look, I think if any cornerback is going to win that award, which is rare, I think he would be the choice right now, just because he is so prominent on that Eagles defense. He's hanging out with James Harden in the tunnel after the game. Darius Slay profile is rising. Now,
is that what it takes to raise your profile? Is hanging out in the tunnel with James Harden?
Well, if James Harden's like, oh, wow, it's Darius Slay. Like, James Harden's one of the MVP in the NBA. He's pretty good. Not what he was, but still pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, a guy who's also...
Listen, if you're going to hang out with James Harden, you're probably safer in the tunnel than other places.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Now, a guy who's not hanging out with James Harden, certainly not in the tunnel, DJ Moore, who we had high expectations for, because the idea was he was getting a quarterback upgrade. And now, as we were talking about yesterday, he is spending his days longing for Sam Darnold, first person in the history of the NFL to do that.
Yeah, I mean, DJ Moore is going to be fine. We talked about this yesterday. Season-wise, he's going to be fine. And you may still have to start him this week. But I do have lower expectations for him this week. I'm lower than I think I've ever ranked him. I'm at wide receiver 24. Listen, it's not going to be a pure shadow. They move him all over. But he will definitely see some Marshawn Lattimore in this game. You don't like that. He's had 3 catches in both games so far this year. 3 in each. So he's not getting the volume, because that was always the argument with DJ Moore. Yes, the touchdowns are a challenge, but the volume is at least there. Volume hasn't been there. Panthers just can't stay on the field. They're 28th in yards per game. They're 30th in plays per game. It's too many 3-and-outs for these Carolina Panthers. I think they get that fixed eventually. I'm not sure it happens this week against a tough Saints defense.
Yep, 3-point dogs at home to New Orleans. Baker Mayfield want to start playing better pretty soon because that is the team, I think, that has the most kind of equity to make change. And look, I don't think they're going to give up on Baker, because they brought him in and they're going to give him more than a month. But at the same time, he has been dreadful so far. And the rest of the team hasn't even been that bad. Like, McCaffrey's running well. Offensive line is keeping him upright. But Baker Mayfield not delivering.
Right. Now those are 2 teams in the NFC South.
My division.
In your division.
Yeah.
Both of those teams are the teams that you think that the Falcons beat to win this division title,
I don't think they're going to win the division.
That's what I thought you said. Did you say
they make the playoffs. They make the playoffs. They sneak in as the 7th seed in the playoffs. the NFC
I mean,
playoff.
they're in a division with
you
the
don't want to see
Buccaneers-
Marcus Mariota in week 1 of the playoffs. You're the Green Bay Packers. You don't want to
Yeah.
see Marcus Mariota in Lambeau.
I got news for you. You're not going to see Marcus Mariota in the week 1 of the playoffs.
Probably right.
If the Falcons somehow make it, it's going to be because of Desmond Ridder. But whatever. Like they're not going to make it. Like that's the dumbest bet you've ever made. And you've made some dumb ones.
Okay.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBC Sports and Rotoworld.com. Just want to thank you so much for watching what you just watched, or at least being too lazy to click out of it after the autoplay just kept it going. So either way, thank you so much for just letting it scroll by your screen. And now I'd like to ask you respectfully, okay, please subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel for the latest NFL news, fantasy headlines from Rotoworld, and betting analysis from NBC Sports Edge.